Welcome to the All Ball Show, presented by Abstract Sports, where we bring sports back to life. I'm your host, Kyle Clay 2K. In the All Ball Show, we focus on basketball-only content, and to tip things off, I'm covering every single team in the NBA from worst to best in each conference. I'm going to look at their rosters and discuss how I think they're going to perform this upcoming season. And now, to tip off the Western Conference teams going from worst to best, we're starting with the number 15 seed from last year, the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns are based out of Phoenix, Arizona. Go figure. They are a part of the Pacific Division, and the fun fact is that they're the only team in the Pacific Division that's not from California. So that means all those other teams, the other four teams, would be Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers, the Sacramento Kings, and of course the Golden State Warriors, the most dominant team of this decade. Their head coach is Igor Kokoskov. I don't know how to say his name. They play out of Talking Stick Resort Arena. Interesting name. And their mascot is the Suns Gorilla. Very, very original name, guys. You couldn't come up with something else like that, something that pertains to a gorilla other than just saying the Suns Gorilla. Wow. They have the 7th highest all-time NBA regular season win-loss record percentage of .535, so just over 50%. Let's take a look at how they did last year, though. I know, obviously, since it's the number 15 seed, it's pretty bad. And you're also in you're in the best conference of the two. Just to put it in perspective, there were only about 49 down to 42. There were only 7 wins separating the number 3 seed to the number 10 seed in the Western Conference. So that tells you how stacked this conference is. All the way down to the 10 seed, the Clippers had 42 wins. That's pretty unheard of. If you look at the 10 seed in the Eastern Conference, they had 36 wins. So about 6 less. But from there, that's quite the spread. That means that towards the end of the year last year, the Western Conference was wild to watch because every win towards the end of the year meant that you could jump 1 to 5 spots depending on the night and who's playing on that evening. For example, if the Jazz had won one of their last games, they would have jumped from that 5 spot up to the number 3 spot because there are 3 teams with 48 wins in the West, and then there were the Trailblazers at 49. From there, the Warriors and Rockets ran away with it with 58 and 65 wins, respectively. So the Western Conference is very difficult to compete in. So the Phoenix Suns are in a very tough spot, but they have a lot of great talent on their team, which I'll talk about right now. So things are always looking up for them. They had a record of 21-61 last year, worst record in the NBA last season, and effectively took last place out of 30 teams. They were 15-37 in conference play. Makes sense. You're playing against a lot of difficult teams. 10-31 at home, and then you were 11-30 on the road for the Phoenix Suns. So that's pretty darn terrible, but they have a lot of talent on their team that can really boost them to the next level if they have some veteran talent to pair up with them. So just to rattle off some of the names from last year to get people's minds freshened up, you got Dragan Bender, Eric Bledsoe, Devin Booker, who is a guy I look up to quite a bit, and when I say a guy I look up to, he's much younger than me. He's very young, actually. Isaiah Canaan, Tyson Chandler, Marquise Chris, Troy Daniels, Jared Dudley, Josh Gray, Shaquille Harrison, Daniel House, Josh Jackson. He's a promising young talent. Mike James, Derek Jones, Alex Len, Greg Monroe, Elfrid Payton, Alec Peters, Devon Reed, Tyler Ulis, TJ Warren, and Alan Williams. That totals for 22 players on their roster last year. In the Eastern Conference, it seemed like there was a little bit of a pattern. Some of the teams who did surprisingly well had less players on their roster throughout the season. I don't know if that means anything. Obviously people switch teams for many, many different reasons. But I just noticed it translating to success in most cases when they had less players on their roster throughout a year. Just to look at the per game averages, the highest per game average was Devin Booker with 24.9 points a game. He did only play 54 games, though, and this guy, he is a talent. I mean, he put up 70 points in the previous season, so not 2017-2018, but 2016-2017. he had a game where he played. I don't remember who they played. It wasn't the best team, but he put up 70 points on them. I don't remember if they got the win, but I remember that was really impressive. It's the most points anybody scored in the NBA since Kobe's 81 against the Raptors. If that doesn't say anything about the kid, I don't know what will. 25 points a game, and he only played 54 games. Also averaged, 4.5 rebounds a game, 4.7 assists, and just under 1 steals per game. And actually, for as much as he handles the ball, 3.6 turnovers a game is not terrible. Could bring that down a little bit. He definitely averaged the most turnovers on a team. That's one thing that you will see is that a guy who handles the ball the most, or the guy who scores the most points on a team, he may have the most turnovers because he has the ball in his hand the most. So turnovers can be a little bit deceptive, but the more that you can get that turnover rate down and your assist rate up, you are playing at a very efficient rate, and it's hard to beat a team that plays that way altogether. As far as total points and things like that, let's organize this. Devin Booker had 1,350, TJ Warren had 1,270, Josh Jackson had over 1,000, and Josh Jackson, he's only 20 years old. He's still in, that was his first year. And Devin Booker, he's only 21, maybe 22 now, but 21 years old, dude put up 71 points in the NBA, or 70 points. That's pretty impressive. But 3 players with over 1,000 points, that says a lot right there about how the Western Conference really is. These players are putting up points on their team. 5 episodes in the Eastern Conference, from 15 up to the 10 seed or so, before I even came across a team that had multiple guys with over 1,000 points. And obviously points don't mean everything, but it just means that guys are getting points up on the board, and it just means that the teams that they're playing against are putting up more points than they are. From there, they have a guy with 700 points, Troy Daniels. He's the 4th highest scoring player on the team. You have Alex Len, Marquise Chris, Tyler Ulis, all in the 500-point range, as well as Dragan Bender. And from there, it drops off to 300, 300, 200, 200, 100. So actually not a bad spread for a team who's in last place. But again, I think it does paint the picture of what it's going to look like when we get looking at the top teams in the Western Conference. And according to basketballreference.com, some of the guys that are going to be on their team for this year include Devin Booker, of course, Tyson Chandler, Richaun Holmes, Daryl Arthur, Ryan Anderson, Troy Daniels, Dragan Bender, Josh Jackson coming back for his second season, Devon Reed, TJ Warren, Shaquille Harrison, DeAndre Ayton, Michael Bridges, George King, Trevor Ariza. There's some good veteran talent. He won some championships with the Lakers. Eli Okobo, Isaiah Kanon's coming back, and DeAnthony Melton. An awful lot of guards on this roster. There are a few centers, actually. Tyson Chandler, he's a dominant guy down low. Then you've got guys like Richaun Holmes, who I've never heard of, but 6'10", 245, a sizable dude, probably going to push some people around. This is going to be his 3rd or 4th year in the league. You still have high-scoring guys like Devin Booker, and Troy Daniels is up there too. So, I don't know. I think the Suns have to do better than they did last year. But one thing to think about too, the Lakers had a season not too long ago that was much worse than this. I'm pretty sure it was one of the seasons right after Kobe left. They only put up 17 wins in a season. And the next season after that, they barely topped it, not by a lot. So the fact that the Suns have 21 wins right now, it gives, I know, personally, I have a little benchmark for it because I'm a Lakers fan. I know how bad that season was. But they were also without their star player for about 30 games. So it'll be interesting to see how they can perform this year with all of their guys healthy, hopefully. I mean, obviously, we don't want to see any NBA teams lacking their star talent, or really anybody for that matter. It's just not as fun when it's as competitive as it can be. So I really do look forward to seeing how the Suns perform. I think in this Western Conference, it's even more stacked than it was, in my opinion, just because the Lakers have LeBron James, because not a lot of players got shuffled around in the Western Conference. Players just jumped around from conference to conference, only bringing better talent over to LA. So, man, it's going to be an interesting ride. But that does it for this episode of the All Ball Show presented by Abstract Sports. How do you think the Phoenix Suns are going to do next year? Do you think they're going to do better than they did before, get more than 21 wins? Well, let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, of course, and subscribe to this channel if you want to get more basketball content throughout the season. I'm your host, Kyle Clay 2K. I'll see you in the next one.